Good afternoon. My name is Denise Pye from Be More Yoga and Fitness. This afternoon I am just going to go through a practice with you which is mainly based on hip openers. Sometimes the hip openers, if they're tight, can cause an issue with back problems. So hip openers are really great to work the whole area of the pelvis, the back, and also give a range of movement for any other exercises you may want to do. So I'll be referring to my notes because obviously I design classes every week, so I just need to check that I'm in with the programme. So first of all, just a little warm up because we're going to be moving your hips quite a bit. I just want to ensure that you start to move and limber up your hips. So just put your hands on the floor and the soles of the feet on the floor and just start moving your hips. Thank you. This is a really good way of just moving through the synovial fluids in your hips. Now, obviously what's really good sometimes if you do a little warm up or exercise before yoga. I've just done strength training, so my body is really nice and warm. Yoga needs to perform when your body is warm and just mobilised. Okay, so if you've got to keep your left foot out, your right foot over. Now your options are you place either your hand or your left arm and you squeeze through and look the opposite way. And that is just giving a lovely stretch of the outside of the glutes and just allowing us to open our shoulders a little bit. And if you could change sides. And that's the left leg over the right hand pushing the left knee, and we're over the left shoulder. Lovely. And now I just want to use this block to create a little nice hip opening, an under balancer. Okay, so you can take a seat on your block, take your right leg out, not in front but just a little bit wider. Have your left leg, soles of the feet on the floor, and again wider. So it's as if you like that, but you're just putting your left leg up, okay? So however you feel most comfortable. Put your right hand on the floor behind you. Bring your knee in as best you can. Take your elbow, place it on the inside of your left knee, and really push and open that hip. Keep your hand up. Okay. And then start to move and look across over to your right shoulder, which creates a bigger hip opening. Now you can put whatever pressure you want on, but please remember, mild discomfort originally is all you should ever feel before relaxing into a pose, and never pain. And release. Okay, the same, the opposite. Now this is really good for people who sit all day at the office. Bring your foot in, left hand on the floor, right hand pushing the hip open, and then look over the left shoulder. Really use this as a lever. Should feel that really deep in the hip and groin area. And release. Just going to mobilise the spine. We are going to be needing 2 blocks a bit later on. It's really not block yoga today, but just for some of the movements we're going to do. And just do your cat-cow. So take an inhale, hold the spine. Exhale, round the spine. And then at the same time, just push back and sit back and stretch your arms. Bring back up on the inhale. And breathe. Inhale, hold the spine. Exhale, round the spine. And push back. Inhale. Inhale, round, hold the spine. Exhale, round, and push back. One more. Use the breath. Okay, in the fashion that we are, the concept is the hips. Just let your legs go a little bit wider, okay? As wide as you can possibly get them. And we're just going to push the hands a little bit further up. I'm going to sit back into the child's pose with the really wide stance and try and just get your chest on the floor or your head. If you struggle with that, bring your forearms in. If you feel like you can't go, you're going to go too far with your hips. This is a frog pose. And release. Come back up. And sit back. Now we're just going to do a sun salutation, a basic one, with using a high lunge, okay? And we're going to use the blocks. And the reason why we're going to use the blocks is it just allows the fluid process of pulling through the leg at the front. I'll start at this side. Okay, so we're at the blocks here, and our feet are between the blocks. We take an inhale up, and exhale forward, forward. So I'm going to keep that forward fold for a short period of time, making sure the head's really far down, nice and relaxed, crown towards the floor, shoulders relaxed. If you need to soften your knees, you can do. You don't have to lock them. So first of all, I'm just going to give myself a really good individual stretch on each leg, hamstring and IT band. So if you could just bend your left knee, make sure it's a significant bend, make sure your right leg is straight with a hip push back, and then place your right hand up in the air and follow it through with your gaze. You should get a lovely stretch, the side and the back of your hamstrings. And then come back down. Release that and take the right knee, significantly bent, left stretched, hip back, inhale, and place your hand right behind and gaze through to that hand. You get the lovely stretch down the back and at the side of the IT band. Great if you're a runner, walker, anything with impact. And then release. Place your hands on the blocks, bend your knees and take the left leg back into a high lunge. When you're on the blocks, take an inhale up, and when you're happy with your balance, release your hands, and come up on the inhale. On the exhale, place your hands on the blocks, right leg back, and then lower. You can use your knees if you need to, between the blocks. If you don't want to do the cobra on the blocks, you can actually place your hands at the side or move the blocks forward to do an inhale. Cobra. Exhale back down. I'm using the blocks. And then you come up into a lunge. Lovely. So take the left leg behind. Lift it through. Take an inhale up. High lunge. Exhale back down. Allow the right leg to join the front with a bend, a stretch, using the blocks if you need to. Inhale up to Asana. So I'm going to do that on the other side, so the leading leg of the right goes back, and then when we come back through, the leading leg of the right goes forward. And my suggestion is, if you're going to be doing a yoga practice, maybe do a couple on each side of the leg for some salutation. I'm just going to demonstrate one of each. Again, take an inhale up, exhale forward, forward. Bend your knees, hands on the bricks, take the right leg back. Take an inhale up, join right. Inhale, lower. Exhale, up for cobra. Inhale all the way back down. Exhale up, all the way into downward dog. And push back. Get the right leg behind. Bring it through to the blocks. Adjust yourself for a high lunge. Inhale. Up. Exhale all the way back down. Bring your left leg to join. Bend. Forward fold stretch. Inhale up to Tadasana. And hands to heart. So that, my friends, is the high lunge sun salutation. And my suggestion is before you move into this practice, you mobilise that by doing a couple on each side. But I want to keep this video short. It's up to you how you do it. We're going to move on now to some work in relation to our hips. Now we've mobilised our hips. We're going to just do some further stretches on them. So first of all, we're going to do the three-legged dog. We are going to come through to a high lunge, and we are going to start working with opening our hearts. So I'm going to adjust myself so you can see me a little bit. Use the blocks if need be, but I'm not going to use them. So take an inhale up. I'm going to do an exhale forward fold, just like we did before. And halfway up, bend the knees. Okay, and then I'm walking all the way back. I'm just lowering all the way down, chaturanga to the floor, into a supine position, and an inhale, cobra back bend. Exhale down, inhale downward dog. Okay, so relax yourself in downward dog. Okay, so what we're going to do this time is just bend the knees slightly, and then push back into the calves. Breathe. Bend the knees. And then push back into the calves. Let's get that lovely stretch. You should be able to see there's a V here. Okay? So we're not here, not a plank. We're here. Again, bend the knees. And give a lovely stretch. You don't necessarily have to have your calves on the floor, but it helps just to push through the Achilles. And let's do a left and a right stretch. The blood now is rushing through to the head, quite invigorating. We should ensure that our arms are moving towards our chest, is moving towards our knees, and there shouldn't really be much tension on the shoulders. Okay, now I'd like you to stay on your toes, take an inhale up, and take the right leg up as high as you can into three-legged dog and hold. Now bend your knee and ensure flatten your foot and ensure you push your foot towards the left side of your body. Which opens your right hip and hold. Push it as far as you can, where you feel that you're naturally comfortable, or you're just slightly pushing the opening of that hip. And then release that. Slowly bring it through to the high lunge. And hold your high lunge there, drop your head. Breathe naturally. If you want to here, you can place your hand on the block. Or keep your right hand on the floor or on the block. Okay, and take an inhale. And open your heart. So there's lots of space here. The left hand is up in the air. And the hip area is opening. Follow the gaze if you can. If you struggle with your neck, lower it. Okay, bring your hand back to the floor. Now lower the left knee. Okay, make sure you've got a nice wide stance. Take an inhale up, and this time I want you to push the hip forward and then just bend your back slightly so you get a back bend with the hip open. Breathe. Breathe evenly. Hold. Feel your your body relax into that hip opener. If you really struggle with your hands up, you can place them here. As long as you get that little back bend that really stretches the top of your piriformis here. Lovely. And come back. If you want to now, it's up to you, because you can use your blocks to bring yourself up. Like to lift up and bring your left leg back. We're now, so your right leg back. We're now in the downward dog position. Just cycle through. Then we're going to do the opposite leg. On your toes, take an inhale up, take your left leg as high as you can, dropping your head down forward. Three-legged dog. Bend your knee, make sure your soles of your feet are flat, and press that towards the right hand side of your body so it's going over the back of your body. Okay, just opening that hip. You'll know how to push, you'll know where it's going. Hold. Bring it back through. If you want to put your hands on the blocks, you can do. And we're coming into left high lunge. Drop your head. Ensure you're happy with that lunge. Make sure you get a lovely stance. Okay, because we're staying down. And keeping the left hand on the floor or on the block. Up to you. And then open the heart and space in front, not behind. We open that hip area. It's not a twist, it's an open. Release, coming back down. Drop the right knee. You want to, you can push a little bit forward just to get that whatever range of movement you want. Ensure the knee's not going over the ankles. Take an inhale, push that hip forward, arms up for a back bend. Extend. Now if you don't want to do the back bend and you're feeling pushing too much, just bring it back up. You go where you feel most comfortable. It's about your range of movement. Again, hands on hips if you struggle. Come back down. Now if you want to use the blocks, you can do that to lift the back foot and allow the right foot to come forward. Bend, stretch, inhale. Tadasana, hands heart. So really worked on this area here. And the next bit we're going to do is really looking at the lizard pose. Now what you need to know about a lizard pose, it's a wide downward dog first of all, and it's quite a wide pose. So if I show you from the front, it's like that. So we're not lunging simultaneously, it's wider than that. So we get like that. Okay, it's really important you know that because it opens the hips out even more. What I might do is just move the mat slightly so you can see where we are with it. You don't need the blocks for this unless you want them to get up. But to get into this position, we need to still start with a vinyasa. A little bit of getting into it. So come to your top of your mat. Take an inhale up and exhale forward fold. Nice and relaxed. Nice stretch. Let's just cradle that stretch a little bit. I feel like I need to myself. Just shuffle my knees just because I've done a strength training class. Feels good. And then, okay, take both your legs back and lower all the way down. Take an inhale up, cobra. Halfway supported, whatever you want. And exhale back down. Okay, and inhale up. Downward dog. Right, here we are. Same downward dog we did the three-legged dog, and there's just a difference. So I want you to make sure your feet are wider. Put them right at the edges of your mat. Take a breath in and take your right foot and place it at the side of your right hand. And let's go. There you go. You get the wideness. If you look, you get the wideness. So your left foot is wide, your right foot's right over you. Okay, if you can, press down and try and bend your elbows as far as you can so your shoulder and your knee meet. You get that hip here. Don't worry if you can't, even just a little bit. Come back up. Again, open your heart. Put your hand behind and widen. It doesn't matter if your back foot twists a little bit. Just open that hip area. Now this is a difference. Put your hand down. Now place the back knee down. You're right over this side of the mat. Come up. Place the front of your foot on the floor like that. It's not like that, it's like that. And then this, come up. And if you want to use blocks, it's up to you. I want this foot moving to the side. So I want you to go on the right side of it and come up. Okay. And now if you feel that you're struggling and you can't get down, then you can just use the block. And open. We're opening the hips like this. Can you feel it? All this area. Place your foot back up. Bring yourself back to wide downward dog. Just have a minute in that. We're going to do the same again with the lizard. Take an inhale. Take the left foot next to the left hand. On the right, it's really wide again. See if you can bend down a little bit further. Bending those eventually, I mean, you could even use a block if you want to do that, but eventually, that's your aim. So leave your left hand on the floor, take the right hand up, and open the hip area. Bring it back down again. Drop the right knee. So you've got the wideness of it on. Okay, come up, drop this left ankle, roll it to the left side just to open that hip area. And just push down as much as you can. Or if you feel you don't need to, you just want to stay there, just open that up. And bring yourself back to the floor, bend your knees, lower yourself into a child's pose just to relax. Okay, and then I'm just going to show you a little bit more in relation to opening your hips with Pigeon Pose before we move on to anything else. And then what I would suggest you could do is, I'm holding 6 to 8 breaths, but if you wanted to go through that again and hold 3 to 4, you could do. You need your blocks, but you need them higher this time at the side. You're going to go where we normally go, coming in to a downward dog, take an inhale up, exhale forward. Come in your knees, walk back, lower all the way down to the floor. Take an inhale, cobra, and exhale down. Let's push up again into just a normal downward dog. Relaxing that and just take a relaxing few breaths in that. Okay, now can you take your right leg, drop your left ankle to the side and your right knee in front, and then take your left leg and push it back. Now don't worry if this ankle just slightly rotates a bit further back. What most important thing is the hips are straight, and if you're struggling with the hips being straight, place a block underneath. Okay, your leg must be straight at the back. Okay, and we're really pushing into opening the hips. Alright? So if you don't need a block, we do need 2 for something else. So if you need block, if you've got only 2 blocks, maybe put a towel underneath. But what I want you to do is just want you to stay up here. Okay? Because if you stay up, it really stretches at the front. And that's why I need you to have these blocks to allow you to get a slight back bend and to stay up in your pigeon. Okay? If you want to and you find it better, have it however you want. I find it, my arms are a little bit longer. Really opening it up. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is your left hand, take your left leg and just push it gently. And it's like a quad stretch, but it opens the hips more. And hold. Release. This is when you can get rid of the blocks. And if you want to, and lie forward. Either place your hands or you can just put your head on the block and just relax into this pigeon pose. You'll feel it gradually lengthening your muscles. It becomes a nice stretch after a while. Wish you could stay forever, and probably you could if I wasn't videoing, but if you can stay in this any other time, do so for maybe a minute. Then lift up. Blocks here. Okay, use your blocks to lift your body up. Take your left leg, place it exactly the same position on the opposite way. Again, just taking my blocks away, can you see? Hips nice and aligned, no rocking back. Use your blocks to stay up with your leg nice and stretched out behind. Okay. Hold that. You've got a little back bend there, don't worry about that, it's really important. The back bend helps support the piriformis stretch. Hold. You can have your head wherever you want. I like to be back just to get the range of movement. Okay, now take your right leg, hand, pick up your right foot, and it opens out a little bit more. Just keep yourself upright, that's why you've got the blocks. If you can't do it, it's absolutely fine, everyone's different with balance. Release. And then if you want to, I'm going to just place my head on the block and just sit into this. Feels really nice. It gradually ease through your inner thigh, your hips, your glutes. Can't stay forever, even though I would. Lift up. Use your blocks to lift yourself right up. It's a downward dog on the blocks. Give it a lovely stretch. Tip toes, push back. Tip toes, push back. Last one, tip toes, push back. And then just walk yourself forward. Down. Way down. Last thing I'm going to practice with you is the tree, the Lord of the Dance and Sumo, just to keep that hip theme. So the tree looks like leg left grounded, left leg grounded, and right. You can place it here, here, as high as you want to, all depends on your balance. Okay, so open the hip out, sit naturally, take an inhale up, push your hands in, nice position, hold. Can. Try and keep your balance. Don't worry if you can't. Breathe evenly. Bring your prayer down to the heart. Bring your leg in forward. And if you can, and on the way down, you may touch the floor. Hands down to the side. Now, this is the Lord of the Dance pose. Grab hold of your ankles. Bend your knee slightly. Take an inhale. Push the ankle towards on the wrist and open the hip. Okay? glutes contract naturally. Hips open. And release. Okay. If you want to do the other one. Okay, let's go. Right leg rounded, left leg treeing. Wherever is most comfortable. We're all different with our balance. And hold. Bring your tree all the way down. Again. If you want to, the breath, you can touch the floor. Bend your right knee, grab hold of your ankle, open the hip and push out. It's not a quad stretch like this, it's pushing out. Contracting your glutes, lengthening your thigh, open the hips. And come back down. Last to finish. Okay, if you just put yourself in a wide stance, slightly tentative, I just want you to put your hands on your hips and just, it's like a ski, it's like a, just limber up, mobilise these. Now, if you want to put your hands wherever you want, I kind of like to go, it's up to you, keeping the hips you want, really working through them, just to finish off this practice. And again, if you want to make this practice more, you can go through some of the moves again and just hold them up on a lesser time, really, for smaller breaths. Now you're tentative, I want you to place your hands in front and keep your back nice and straight. Take an inhale and drop to sumo. Hold and then bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4. And up. All the birds having a nice layout there. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. And again. Move back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. And again. Breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. To finish off, just join me on the mat. Okay. Soles of the feet on the floor. Bring your knees in to belly. Extend the legs. Grab hold of your toes. Take a breath in and just open gradually your hips. Go as far as you need to. Keep your knees bent and see how far you can go before you find some discomfort. Make sure you just bring it in a little bit more so we don't cause any pain. Happy baby pose. Ensure your head's on the floor. I don't want this. See that? You need to put your head on a block or a cushion or anything. Back in. Okay. And release. Okay, put your feet a little bit wider. Lift up into the bridge. Pelvis up and hold. Make sure your neck's nice and lengthened. Soles of your feet on the floor. And if, again, the lengthening the top here of your three forearms and also just here, bring up the glutes. Your legs wide, back in and lift. Breathe in. Breathe out. Wide and back in. Breathe in, lift. Breathe out. Wide. Back in. Bring your legs in and just have a minute massaging your spine. Done a lot of work on that area of your hip flexors and also the glutes. Done a great job. Just need to ensure that you relax out a bit. For this one, just your legs straight and relax. And all I suggest you do is just take some time to just be with yourself, breathing through, relaxing your muscles, and just ensuring that you feel totally relaxed after the work that you've done in this practice. So I'll leave that with you today to do that. A couple of minutes just breathing. I hope you find that works for you, and if it doesn't, just please remember it's your practice. You ease into the poses as much as you want, or you can bring them off. We don't aim for pain, we just aim slightly for a bit of discomfort, and then it slowly should relax. So thank you so much, and if you really like the classes, the short videos that I'm putting on, please click subscribe because it's really important. It really helps me in my business. Thank you so much.